Yeah, may I ask who is unknown? Please change your titles. Name by please make it with your name. Whoever is having user ID as their mobile number or unknown or some other names, please change it to your own name which is registered. So good morning, dear all. Am I audible? Anybody can reply me. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
okay. So we'll start with is my screen visible to you? Anybody
Yes,
can?
ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So what we have done yesterday, please don't do these annotations. So let me start with whatever we have done yesterday. What we will just go through the review of that. And prior to that, So, good morning, dear all. Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. We will start with this particular quote of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And what we have done yesterday, we have gone through the introduction of microprocessor and microcontroller, and we have seen the difference between them. We have seen the basics of both. I request all of you to please mute yourself. Only one student. Sakshi, can you just unmute yourself? Rest all can mute. If you
Okay,
have
ma'am.
any questions, you can raise. You can raise. If you have any questions, you can raise. So whatever I will ask, at least one student will be there to answer me. Rest all, please mute your mic so that we can utilize the better bandwidth. So what we have done yesterday, we have seen this basics of both. We have seen what are our course objectives, why we are learning this particular course or this particular subject. We have seen that what are program outcomes. Program is your BTech Electronics and Communication Engineering. So there are 12 program outcomes. These are mapped with 12 graduate attributes. They both are similar. Program outcomes and graduate attributes are similar. So we have seen that why we have seen this, because we wanted to know that why we are learning this particular course or this particular subject. Then we have seen some basics of programming, like what is assembly language, because we will be whatever programming we will do that in assembly language programming. So with this we will proceed further with today's sessions. Again, I will put some instructions. Those who have attended yesterday, they must be knowing, but those who have not attended yesterday, for them I am repeating this. Attendance should be given in chat box, but not now. Whenever I will instruct, that time only you have to submit with the attendance. Then whoever whose roll numbers are starting from 18, they can write their last two digits of their roll numbers and followed by the name. Those whose roll numbers are starting from 17, they can write last four digits of their roll number. And whoever are lateral entry students, they can write last three digits of their roll number and followed by their name. This is how you have to submit me your attendance whenever I will ask you. Whatever doubts you will be having, you can put that in chat box, or you can raise the hand or and ask me. If you want to get your doubt clear, you raise your hand, interrupt me in between, and you can ask me the questions. So we'll see what we are going to cover today. We will see why we have to use microprocessors or microcontrollers, uh, why we are going digital, what is the pin configuration of 8085 microprocessor, what is address latch enable pin, and what is how it is used to demultiplex the lower order address and data bus. We will see opcode fetch cycle of 8085 microprocessor. Then we will see understand the block diagram of 8085 microprocessor, so that we will be able to understand its internal features, what are there inside 8085 microprocessor. And then we will see what is the frequency of operation of 8085 microprocessor. And if time is there, then we will proceed little further also. We will start with some programming, etc. So why we are going through why we are using this 8085 microprocessor or microcontrollers, not particularly these microprocessors or the microcontrollers only. So because suppose if you have a system, if you whatever is your generalized measurement system, suppose if you want to measure temperature, or suppose if you want to measure pressure, or maybe humidity of the room, or if you want to measure temperature, body temperature, then there should be the whatever quantity you want to measure, that is your input quantity. Then you will be having some sensor, some sensing element. And then once the sensor, let's say if it is a temperature measurement, then you will be having temperature transducer. What temperature transducer will do, it will convert that particular physical quantity into, yeah, okay, Sakshi, please ask.
Excuse me, ma'am. Slides are not visible.
Not visible?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
the slides, or only this particular?
Ma'am, not any slides.
Is it the problem at your end, or it is a problem because the slides are similar to yesterday's slides? The format is similar. Anybody can answer? Anybody? You, Shubham? Are slides clear to you? Okay, Sakshi, what is the problem now? Okay, I'm asking all. Are your slides clear? Are my slides clear to you all?
No, ma'am.
Sachin?
Ma'am,
No,
screen
ma'am.
is stuck at a point.
Yeah. What is? Yeah, Ananya. You have raised the. You unmute yourself, Ananya.
Ma'am, your screen is stuck. We just see the 2KEC 502 MP and MC where all the folders are available.
That is there on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me go again with this. Is it now clear? What is there in what is there on the screen?
That only previous one is showing in the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We are unable to see.
Now is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
It's visible.
So, okay, we'll start with this. What we have done, I think it is clear to you. We have done the introduction part. We have seen what is microprocessor, microcontroller, what is the difference between microprocessor, microcontroller. We have seen the basics of both. We have seen what are course objectives, what are program outcomes, what are graduate attributes. Yesterday, we have seen little bit basics of programming, and moving further. Please, students, whoever is talking, please mute yourself. Otherwise, I have to mute you all.
भाई साहब आवाज ही नहीं आ रही मुझे तो। ओए नूर, आवाज आ रही है?
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now the screen is visible. What is there on the screen?
Block diagram of measurement system.
Yeah. So here we will have some electrical quantity, maybe in the form of voltage or maybe in the form of current. What the block signal conditioning is doing, signal conditioning is amplifying the lower voltages or lower current values to the amplified level, and we may use filters, etc. But if we want to display this particular analog signal, we have to use CRO or we have to use some galvanometers, etc. But if you want to have digital displays like 7-segment displays or LCD displays, then we have to convert this particular analog data into digital data. So if we use analog to digital converter, ADC IC, that will convert your analog data into digital data. But then how to process this particular digital data, how to give it to the display? You cannot directly give it to the display for displaying the data. So you have to process that data, you have to pass it on to certain device, and here comes the role of microprocessor or microcontroller. So whatever digital data we get from analog to digital converter, that is being processed or that is being controlled by microprocessor or microcontroller, and then it is given, it is made available to the display devices. So here is the application of that's why we are using microprocessor or microcontrollers. Now yesterday we talked about that 8085 is 840 pin IC, and out of that your 16 pins are address, 8 pins are address and data bus multiplexed, and you have 2 power supply pins. You have you have higher order address bus, that is from A8 to A15, because you have you are working with 64 kilobytes of capacity, memory capacity. So 64 kilobytes means in binary it is 2 raised to 16. So 2 raised to 16 means you should have 16 address lines so that you can address any particular memory location from 00 to 64K. Then you could able to see these signals, INTR and INTA acknowledgement. INTR is your interrupt signal. You can interrupt whenever we will see the 8085 interrupts, we will see the functioning of this particular INTR and INTA bar. It is acknowledgement signal. Then total you have 5 interrupts in 8085 microprocessor. Trap, that is having the highest priority, RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 7.5, and INTR. Whenever we will study interrupt part, that time we will study all about this particular interrupts. So you have another 2 pins are SID and SOD. These 2 pins are used for serial communication. So whenever we will do serial communication operation, that time we will understand the functioning of this particular pins. Then to reset the system, we should have reset out pin, and to work this 8085 microprocessor with some particular frequency, you have to connect the crystal of that particular frequency. So where to connect the crystal? The crystal is having 2 pins, and these 2 pins are connected to pin 1 and pin 2. So here you will connect the crystal. So yesterday also I have told, and today also we will see that what is the internal operation frequency of 8085. It is nothing but the crystal frequency divided by 2. So if you use the crystal of 6 megahertz, then your operational frequency will be 3 megahertz. That means your each machine cycle, each instruction, each timing cycle is of 3 megahertz frequency. Then you have here, you can see here 2 signals, hold and hold acknowledgement. So whenever we will see the direct DMA operations, that time we will see the use or operation of this particular 2 pins. So why we use DMA controllers? We use DMA controllers because suppose if you are operating, there are 2 devices connected like printer, and let's say we take the example of printer and computer. So printer operates on different frequency and computer operates on different frequency. So they are the frequency of operation, they are not synchronized. They are operating on different frequencies. So to control this particular devices, you should have DMA controller with your microprocessor or microcontroller, so that you can work with other devices which are running faster to compared to 8085 microprocessor. So whenever we'll see the operations of DMA, direct memory access controllers, that time we will see the functioning of this particular pins. Then you have your clock out pin, whatever crystal frequency you are using, depending upon that the clock is generated, and that is also available on this particular pin. Then you have certain control signals, S1 read bar, write bar. Whenever you are reading to the microprocessor, then this read bar signal is going low. When you are writing from the microprocessor, then this write bar signal goes low. They are active low signals, that's why bar is mentioned over here. And this particular signal is IOM bar. IOM bar means this signal is used when you are operating with machine side memory, then that time memory, then this signal goes low. And if you are interfacing or doing input output operations, then this signal will go high. So these are the control signals. So I think these 40 pins are clear to you. If we do not have this multiplexing pins, 8 pins, then your IC would have been of 48 pin. So that to avoid the larger size of IC, we are using these 8 pins are demultiplexed. So I think the pin diagram is clear to you, and whenever we will study the control signals, whenever we will study the respective operation, that time we will understand the functioning of each and every pin in detail. So with this, we will move further with the next. Yesterday, I explained that there are 3 buses. Buses means these are the combinations of lines. So your address bus is of 16 lines because you have 16-bit address. Lower, that is AD0 to AD7, that is lower order address bus, and A8 to A15, that is higher order address bus. Because we start from A0, that's why it is A0 to A15. Then you have 8-bit data bus because 8085 is 8-bit microprocessor. So your data is of capacity of 8-bit. So your data bus is 8-bit data bus. It is multiplexed with address bus, that is AD0 to AD7. So these are the 2 buses. This is 16-bit bus, this is 8-bit bus, and you need some control signals. So all these control signals, whatever we have seen in this pin diagram, read bar, write bar, ALE, S0, S1, IOM bar, etc. All these are control signals and they form one particular bus. So 8085, yesterday also I have told you that it is handicapped without the input output or without the peripherals. So it is having only its own instruction set. It is not having inbuilt memory. It is not having inbuilt input output devices. So to operate with this input output devices and memory, these are externally connected. Memory, RAM or ROM, that is RAM or EPROM, that is externally available. Input devices, that is keyboard, etc., are externally available. Display devices, that is externally available, and all these are connected with this microprocessor through the bus. So address bus is also connected to these devices, data bus is also connected to the devices, and control bus is also connected to this particular devices. So moving further, I think this is clear to you. We were talking about the AD0 and AD7 lines of microprocessor. We are calling that they are multiplexed. Multiplexed means same lines are used as data lines and same lines are used as address lines. So whenever we operate with the instruction, we need the address separately and we need data separately. So who does this particular task? There is one control signal which is called as ALE, that is address latch enable. So this signal, this signal is connected to the latch inside 8085 microprocessor. You all must be understanding the latch. What is the function of latch? The English meaning of latch is to hold. So whenever the latch is enabled, whenever the latch is on, whatever is available at input will go to the output, and whenever latch is disabled, the input is will not be available at output, but output will be having the previous status. Whatever is previous status, that will be available with the output. So this is the functioning of the latch. So here we use 743, I think 373 IC is used for latch, and whenever we'll see the functioning also how this is done. So what happens whenever this ALE goes high, the latch is enabled. Latch is enabled means whatever is available at input pins, that will go to the, that will available at the output pins. So this particular latch is having 8 input lines, and this particular latch is having 8 output lines. So whatever you place first on this particular lines, that is whatever is first placed on this particular line, that is considered as address, because always the address comes first and then the data comes. It is never happen that the data will come first and the address will come next, because if you want to point out that particular data, you have to first give the address to point out that particular data. So always on AD0 to AD7 lines, the address will appear first and the data will appear. So if you put your, if whenever is your ALE, that is address latch enable signal, goes high, whatever is on this particular lines, that is considered as data, address, and this particular address is available at the output lines, and these lines are labeled as address lines A0 to A7. And when the latch is disabled, when the latch will be disabled, the latch will be disabled whenever your ALE will go low. So when ALE will go low, the latch will be disabled. So what is available at the output, these lines will always contain A0 to A7 status, and when the latch is disabled, whatever is available on AD0 to AD7 lines, that is considered as data. So this is how we are demultiplexing, or we are separating these 8 lines into 16 lines. So your AD0 to AD7 initially at 8085 stage, these are multiplexed, but with the help of this ALE signal and with the help of internal latch enable, you are making it demultiplexed. So whenever ALE goes high, the latch is enabled, and the whatever is the status on this particular line is considered as address, and then you connect this particular address to the input output or memory devices address lines. As 8085 is having address lines, data lines, similarly input output devices or memory chips or memory devices, they are also having address lines and data lines. So when you, I think this is clear to you. So we'll see how exactly this is done. Am I too fast? Or are you are understanding it? Sakshi? Or maybe some other
Yes,
student?
ma'am.
Anushka, am I too fast, or are you able to understand, all of you? Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We all are
Okay,
able to
okay,
understand.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we were talking about the ALE, how this demultiplexing is done. So whatever crystal we apply to 8085 2 pins, crystal pins, then internally the frequency is divided by 2, and that is available with this as a clock periods. So this is, suppose if your crystal is of 6 megahertz, then your internal frequency is 3 megahertz. 3 megahertz means this timing will be, this 1 T period timing will be, this is called as T1 T states, T1, T2, T3, T4, like that. So each T state will be of how much period? It is 1/3 megahertz. So if your crystal frequency is 4 megahertz, then your internal operation frequency is 2 megahertz. 2 megahertz means what will be the duration of this T1? It will be 1/2 megahertz, that is 0.5 microseconds. So depending upon your crystal frequency, the clock timings are varying. So now we were talking about ALE. So initially always with the clock period, first clock period, or always with any instruction cycle, the very first ALE goes high with during this T1 period, and then it goes low. So whenever your address latch enabled signal is high, it is always high at the beginning of any instruction or at the beginning of any machine cycle. So during this period, whatever is available on AD0 to AD7 lines, this is considered as address. So here it is mentioned 05. Take one example is taken, that address, lower order address is 05, and your higher order address, because these are not multiplex lines, these are free lines A8 to A15. So your higher order byte is placed on this particular line since the beginning of the machine cycle till end of the machine cycle. So suppose, because you are working with 16-bit address, suppose if the example, if address is 2005, I think you understand why 2005 is called as 16-bit address, because this 5 means it is a nibble. Nibble means it is 4-bit data. So 5, how will you represent 5? 5 you will represent as 0101. So these are 4 bits. Then it is 0. So this is also one nibble. One nibble means 0 means it is 0000. Then you have 0, that is 0000. Then you have 2, that means it is 0010. So how many bits are there? 16 bits. So your address 0100, 0000, 0000 and 0101 is represented as 2005. So out of which your 20 hex is higher order byte and 05 is your lower order byte. So because higher order address bus is not multiplex, this is free, so 20 will always be available on higher order bus unless until the address changes. And because your lower order bus, that is AD0 to AD7, is multiplexed, so it is demultiplexed with the help of ALE. Whenever ALE is high during this period, is whatever is placed on this particular lines is considered as address, and when this goes low, whatever is available on this particular lines is considered as data. So what is the data over here? One example is taken, that data is 4F. Now why 4F? Because we call this as opcode fetch cycle. So if we see one instruction, yesterday also we have seen one instruction, move C comma A. So what is C comma A doing? Move means it is moving. From what it is moving? It is moving the data from accumulator to C registers. Now how many registers are there? What is accumulator? That we'll see little later. But to understand the functioning of ALE, we will see one example. So what is the opcode? We understand move C comma A, but machine doesn't, microprocessor doesn't understand move C comma A. What microprocessor understands? Microprocessor understands 4F. This is a byte, hexabyte, or it is a hexadecimal number, or we can call this as a binary number. So 4F. 4F is your byte, 8-bit data, that is your 1 byte, and this is your data. So this particular instruction is having address, let's say 2005. At 2005 memory location, this particular instruction is placed. And that means at 2005 memory location, 4F is placed, because your data is always 8-bit data. So inside 8085 microprocessor, move C comma A is not placed. Move C comma A is for our understanding, because we cannot remember 4F. So we have to remember, because it is easy for us to remember move C comma A. But microprocessor understands 4F. So the 4F is data for microprocessor, and where this instruction 4F is situated, that is address. So this 4, let's say in example 4F is situated at address 2005. So out of 2005, 20 is your higher address and 05 is your low address, and this ALE is a signal which makes it differentiate between address and data. So your 05 is the byte from address which is available on address lines once ALE is high. Once ALE goes low, whatever is available on address on this AD0 to AD7 lines is considered as data. So I think I'm clear to you, and this is the status of IOM bar line. I have explained what is IOM bar. IOM bar is the control signal. Whenever it is low, it is considered as memory operation. Whenever it is high, it is considered as input output operation. And because we are fetching the opcode, fetching means we are taking in the opcode, so it is related to the memory operation, and hence with this particular opcode fetch cycle, this memory signal IOM bar signal goes low. And S0 and S1 signals are having this is working in some combination. So if your combination of S0 and that whenever we will see little more instructions or control signals that we will see, then we will see the combination of this particular signals S0 and S1. This cycle is explained to you just to understand that how ALE is demultiplexing this lower order bus and higher order bus of the data of the microprocessor. So to have the look what is there inside the microprocessor, we have taken the example of registers. We were talking about C, A, etc, etc. We were talking about IOM bar. So let us understand that what is there inside this particular microprocessor. We are talking about 8085 microprocessor. So we have address buffer inside. Here from address buffer, we are getting A8 to A15 lines out of the microprocessor pins. We have this lower order bus, that is AD0 to AD7, and this is data address buffer, which is also of 8-bit capacity bracket. The bracket number shows the capacity of that particular buffer or that particular register. Then how many registers we have in 8085 microprocessor? We have each register is of 8-bit. We have B register, we have C register, we have D register, we have E register, we have H register, we have L register, and then we have two 16-bit register that is called as stack pointer, and one is program counter. Program counter holds your address of the instruction. Wherever is the instruction, whichever instruction we are at present for execution, that particular address of that instruction is available in the program counter. So program counter contents varies according to the execution of the instruction. It automatically gets incremented as you go on incrementing the instructions. Stack pointer, we will see whenever we will work with interrupts, whenever we work with some lookup tables, etc. Stack pointer is the memory location where we save the contents of registers previously used in our program. So whenever we will see such type of application, we will see the use of this particular stack pointer. So only these two registers are 16-bit registers. Rest all registers are 8-bit register. We call it as register. Register means it is a memory location of 8-bit capacity. That means whatever is your 4F or whatever is your byte, 38 hex, 20 hex, etc., it is having the capacity of 8-bit. So one single register is sufficient to hold that particular data. Whenever this structure is written side by side, like B is written over here, C is written over here, that this indicates that whenever needed, you can use these two registers as register pair. That means B and C together, BC can be used as register pair BC. DE can be used as register pair DE. So register pair means now the capacity is 16-bit capacity. H and L are combined together to form 16-bit register. It is not possible to combine B and E. There is no such combination BE or there is no such combination DC. Always B is paired with C, always D is paired with E, and always H is paired with L. So if you want more 16-bit registers, you can go with register pairs. BC can be one register pair, DE can be another register pair, and HL can be another register pair. And one more beauty of H and L registers together are H and L register together forms 16-bit register pair, and also it indicates the memory location. So if you use here, there is here you may not be able to see M register. M register is a virtual register which is formed with the combination of HL pair. So whenever we will point out some memory location with HL or some data with HL pair, then it is considered that this is available in M, that is memory register. So memory register is your virtual register. It is physically not present, but it is formed with the combination of HL pair. Then there are two 8-bit temporary registers W and Z. These registers are not available for user. For users, that is for us, only B, C, D, E, HL, this stack pointer is available, but we are not able to, we are not having the access to this particular temporary registers W and Z. They are used internally with the microprocessor. Whenever microprocessor internal operation wants to hold the data, to save the data, to pass the data temporarily to some particular memory location or some particular register, then these temporary registers W and Z are used. So there are two temporary registers W and Z. And you have one more register which is called as accumulator. Accumulator is also called as arithmetic and logical register. It is available with ALU. It is used in almost all arithmetic and logical operations. So this arithmetic and logical unit is able to do the arithmetic and logical operations. There are 5 flags in with 8085 microprocessor. One is the carry flag, one is auxiliary carry flag, then you have parity flag, you have sign flag, and you have zero flag. So we will see all these flags also in detail. Whenever the arithmetic and logical operation result is 0, then the 0 flag is set to 1. Whenever you have the addition, subtraction, or any arithmetic or logical operations data exceeding 8-bit number, then you carry flag is set to 1. If you have internal 1 byte means there are 2 nibbles. So whenever the lower nibble data is exceeding to 4 bits, then auxiliary carry is generated. And whenever you have odd parity, even parity, accordingly the parity flag is set or reset. And sign flag is mentioned whenever you are working, there is 8-bit data. So out of 8-bit data, that means this pattern is from D0 to D7. So D0 is considered as lower bit and D7 is considered as higher bit. So this higher bit D7 is also used as a sign bit. So whenever you are operating with signed numbers, that is positive and negative numbers, then D7 bit is used as a sign bit. So if this bit is 1, if you are working with signed numbers, then sign flag is set as 1. So accordingly, we will see the more usage of this particular flags. So here just we are understanding that what are the things available with microprocessor. So you have the supply, because it is a digital IC. So your supply should not exceed from 5 volt. It is always 5 volt. It can go from 5 volt to 4.8 may work, but exceeding 5 volt will damage the IC. Then you will need ground, you will need 2 clock pins to connect the crystal, and you will need there is one clock out pin, so that you can have this clock out available to other devices to connect with. Then you have these control signals. ALE, we have already seen the applications of ALE, and simultaneously whenever we will go further in details with this 8085 microprocessor, with that subsequent section we will understand the use of other control signals also. And you have already, I have told you that there are 5 interrupts. So whenever we will see interrupt operation, we will understand the this particular pins, RST 7.5, 6.5, etc. And whenever we will see serial communication operation or serial data operation, we will understand what is SID, that is serial input, and SIO, that is serial output pin. So likewise, I think it is clear to you that this is available inside the microprocessor, and all this is controlled with control pins, and data bus, address bus is available to connect it with the input output devices. So just we'll see the what are the features. The features are, you have 8-bit data bus, because your data capacity of 8085 microprocessor is 8-bit. You have 16-bit address bus. Why? Because there are 16 address lines, so 2 raised to 16 is 64 kilobytes. So you can connect external memory of capacity 64 kilobyte. It can be RAM or it can be EEPROM, but whatever is RAM capacity or EEPROM capacity, all together it should be 64K bytes. Then you have 8-bit LU, that is arithmetic and logical unit, to perform the arithmetic and logical operations like addition, subtraction, ORing, ANDing, XORing, etc. And it also works with 8-bit data handling capacity. Then you have lower order address bus, which is multiplexed with data bus, that is AD0 to AD7. And we have seen that how we demultiplex this particular address and data lines. Then you have 8085 microprocessor, 40. You already know that it is 40 pin IC, works on power supply of plus 5 volt and ground, and it works on the signal maximum frequency of 3 megahertz. This frequency we are talking about, this is internal operating frequency of microprocessor. So to have 3 megahertz, what should be the crystal frequency? The crystal frequency should be, can anybody answer?
6 megahertz.
Yeah, good. Because your internal frequency is divided by 2. So if your crystal frequency is 6.144 megahertz, then what will be your internal frequency? Your internal frequency will be 6.144 megahertz divided by 2. That means 3.072 megahertz. Why we are not just, whenever we will do some calculations, we will assume that it is 6 megahertz, but generally we are not available with 6 megahertz crystal, because these are the crystals which are natural crystals. They are not generally they are not available in 6 megahertz, and that is full number megahertz kind of things. So whatever the frequency which is available with this particular crystals is 6.144 megahertz. So if I connect the crystal of 6.14 megahertz, then my internal operation frequency is 3.072 megahertz. That means this particular clock period will be 1 upon 3.072 megahertz. So whatever will come, that will be in microseconds. So because this state is in microsecond, that's why we call this processor as microprocessor. So I think I have made all of you the clear with the concepts. So anybody is having any question with this particular or with yesterday's session, you can ask me the question. You can unmute yourself and you can ask me the questions. Is anybody having any question? You all can write your attendance in chat box. I have explained you how you have to write the attendance in chat box. I will consider the attendance from the chat box. So anybody is having any questions? If you have a questions, you can raise. You can ask me any question related to yesterday's session, related to today's session, or related to microprocessor or microcontroller anytime. So anybody is having any question? You can put your cameras on. You can put your video on. You can put your mic on and start writing your attendance in chat box. I will give the attendance. Why are you, why Aman is joining too late? Aman, why are you joining too late? So all of you have written your attendance?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anybody left with the attendance? 47 participants are there. So all 47 have, and all of you have entered your attendance in chat box?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I will give you one assignment. Your assignment, the very first assignment yesterday I have given you, that you have to develop one small system or one small project, mini project, which may be based on microprocessor or which may be based on microcontroller, and this will be submitted to me at the as a last assignment. But why I give this assignment as a first assignment, so that you can as and how you start learning this particular subject, you will understand the concept and you will be able to use this particular concepts in your mini projects. So that's why I have given the assignment 1 yesterday itself, and today is your assignment. Garima, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So anybody is having any doubt? I have given you the assignment 2 as you have to write. I have given you the assignment as Vivek Pandey. Why are you sharing your screen, Vivek? So what I have given you the assignment now? Can anybody repeat it?
Ma'am, you were not audible at that time. Can you repeat the assignment?
Yeah, yesterday I have given you one assignment, that is you have to do one mini project which may be based on microprocessor, which may be based on microcontroller, and it is not at all necessary that it should be 885 microprocessor or it should be 8051 microcontroller. Which you can use any microprocessor, you can use any microcontroller, you but you have to develop one mini project and that should be submitted to me at the end of this particular course. So this is your first assignment, which is a practical based assignment which you will submit me at the end of the course. Course means subject. And today I have given one assignment. I have explained you one opcode fetch cycle during my session. You have to submit me the assignment based on you have to write the you explain me memory write cycle and memory read cycle. What will be the status of ALE, what will be the status of read bar, what will be the status of write bar, pin write bar signal, etc. So this is your second assignment. And in next class onwards we will study some instructions and we will start the programming of 8085 microprocessor. So I request all of you, and this is that you before coming to the class you just go through the instructions, try to understand that and come prepared in the class so that it will be easy for you to understand the session. So
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah.
Ma'am, how we select the selection line S0 and S1 for memory read and memory write?
You don't have to select, it is selected by the microprocessor. So I will explain you that what is the combination required. It is not at the user, these control signals are operated by microprocessor. So whenever you tell that you have to take something from the memory, let's say you are taking some byte from external device to the microprocessor, so it will be the read operation for microprocessor. So accordingly the S0, S1 and IOM bar signal will go low or high. And if you are transferring from the data from memory to the other devices, that means your write bar signal will go low. So that time S0 and S1 signal and IOM bar signal will go low or high accordingly. So I will explain you the combination of these lines, according for read, for write, etc. in the next class. But it is not done with our side. It is done inside the microcontroller. So is it clear to you?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So shall we end the meeting? Anybody is having any doubt? So we'll end the meeting, and tomorrow is second Saturday. Tomorrow you all have to attend. I have circulated the information of one artificial intelligence based webinar. So it is there from 2 p.m. tomorrow, and it will be on Zoom only, and you all have to attend that. Whichever webinar we are conducting in our department for at national level or whatever state level, etc. I informed you all of you to attend those webinars, because I will count all that particular attendance in your internal assessment. Because we are working for you. We whatever webinars, whatever we organize that just to share the knowledge of external expertise with you. So whenever we are organizing these webinars, we expect that our students should attend this particular webinars. So tomorrow it is from 2 p.m. You have to attend that particular webinar. I will share the joining link. You have to register also for that, and I will count this attendance in your internal assessment.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, you don't have to record the lecture. Saurav is asking me, you don't have to record the lecture. Yesterday I have shared the YouTube link. Also whatever was it was it is the recording of the yesterday's session, and today also I will share that particular link. That will be the recording of today's session. So you don't have to record it. But even if you're recording, I don't mind it. If you have that particular option, you can record, but I think it is not needed. I will share the PPTs also, and I will share my recording also. So, okay, thank you very much.
Thank
So
you, ma'am.
tomorrow you attend the webinar, and we will have Monday tutorial period that all the both the batches should attend from 11:30.
Thank you, ma'am.